Hey guys, this is Abhishek from gadgetstudios.com, and today we are going to do a quick comparison in between Micromax Unite 2 and the Motorola Moto E. Motorola Moto E is already available on Flipkart. As of now it is out of stock, but it is one of the popular phone as of now. You can buy this phone for a price of 6,999, and the latest competitor to Motorola Moto E is the Micromax Unite 2, which has been recently launched, and it is also available as of now. However, you may be able to buy this device online, but this is also available in the retail channels, which Motorola Moto E is not. So you can buy it from any retail shop where you can actually go ahead and buy Micromax phone. So you can buy this one from there. As far as the specification of these two devices are concerned, they are pretty good in specification considering the price point at which they are being offered. Both of these devices come for 6,999 is the price for both of these phones. So talking about the hardware of these two phones, this one has a 1.2 GHz dual core processor, Snapdragon 200. This one has 1.3 GHz quad core CPU, MediaTek 6582. You have 1 GB of RAM on both of these phones. You have 4 GB of internal memory on both of these phones. However, the internal memory, when it comes to the free storage available to the user out of 4 GB, is slightly higher on this one as compared to the Unite 2. So we are going to compare both of these devices. We are going to give you reasons to buy both of these devices, and again we are also going to tell you which one is better in which department. And again, I will give you the final conclusion on what all things are there on the basis of which you can make your decision to buy any of these two in case you want to buy a phone at this particular price point. So starting with the comparison, the first thing which I would like to highlight for the Micromax Unite 2, I'm going to give you some of the good reasons of Micromax Unite 2 in comparison with Moto E. And the first reason is the front camera. This device has a front camera. It is a 2 megapixel fixed focus camera, whereas there is no front camera on Moto E. So in this case, this one is actually on the lead, and this is a better reason to buy this phone because you get a front camera with which you can actually take selfie shots, and you can also do pretty good quality of video chat. However, it won't be high definition video chat, but you can do pretty good quality of video chat from the front camera. The second good thing about the Micromax Unite 2 is the rear camera. So again, rear camera on both of these phones is 5 megapixel, but this camera on the other hand is 5 megapixel. It is autofocus supported, you have LED flash, and you have high definition video recording. This device has a 5 megapixel camera as well, but it is a fixed focus camera. It does not have LED flash. It cannot record high definition video. So this is second good point of Micromax Unite 2 in terms of comparison with Moto E. Now the third good point of Micromax Unite 2 is the display size. So display size is slightly higher on this one, which is 4.7 inch, whereas you have 4.3 inch of display. But in this case, this one is actually not on the very good lead because the display resolution is higher on the Moto E, whereas this one is having a lower display resolution of 418 to 800, whereas this one is 514 to 960, which is a QHD resolution. You get 256 pixels per inch on the Moto E, whereas you get only 199 pixels per inch on the Micromax Unite 2. But still, if you actually want to go for a bigger display size at this price point, you can always select this one, which is going to be a better, may not be a better display, but a bigger display obviously. Now the third good point of the fourth good point of the Micromax Unite 2 is that this device has a louder loudspeaker. So this one, especially the loudspeaker, is actually at the back side, which will get blocked at times when you place the device like this on a table. So in that case, the sound will get blocked, but still the overall loudness of the sound and the volume of it is actually louder than the loudspeaker which we have on the Moto E. The loudspeaker on the Moto E is very nicely designed. It is on the front, but still the overall volume of sound which comes out from the loudspeaker is not that loud. So these are the things which I wanted to highlight for Micromax Unite 2. There is one more thing which I wanted to highlight, and again in this department you cannot install applications on the SD card on Moto E, whereas you can do that on the Micromax Unite 2, and I can show you that. For this, we just need to go into settings. I can show you both of these things as far as storage is concerned. So under storage, if we take a look over here, we have inserted an SD card into this device, and you can select the default write disk as the external SD card, which means you can actually install applications on the SD card directly, whereas you do not get that option over here on Moto E. So these are the 5 good points which I wanted to highlight for the Micromax Unite 2, which are good in comparison with Moto E. Another good reason to buy Micromax Unite 2 is that you can actually remove the battery from Micromax Unite 2. Once you remove the back cover, you can see that the battery is there inside and you can remove the battery. But on the Moto E, you cannot do that. Even when the back cover is removable, the battery is not. The battery is actually sealed inside, which means that you can actually remove the battery, but only when you take it to the support center they can actually do it. They can remove the body above the battery and then they can replace it. But if you want to do it on yourself, you cannot buy a new battery and replace it with this one. In case you have experience, in case you experience any kind of battery problems further down the line when you use this phone for like 1 or 2 years, you won't be able to replace the battery on your own, but you can do that on the Micromax Unite 2. Now let's start with the good points of Moto E. And good points of Moto E, first of all, is going to be a better display resolution, which is giving you a better color production as well. If you compare it with this one, this display is slightly brighter as compared to this one. Right now both of them are set to full brightness. This one is slightly brighter, but again this display will give you a better color production and a better pixel density, so it is more precise, I would say more crisp and clear if you actually take a closer look on this one as compared to this one. Again, only this you will only notice when you have both of these devices with you, but in all the display is pretty good on this one as well. But display is something which is a good point for this one, I would say. So this has got a positive point on the display department. The second positive point for this Moto E is the overall experience when it comes to the software. The software which is running on the Unite 2 is again not stock Android. It is a custom layer of Android which is running on top of Android. It is most of it is actually stock Android as well, but again the overall UI transitions and the animations are not that smooth, especially when you try running multiple applications in the background. If you are running some games, if you are doing some heavy graphic intensive tasks, this will show you good amount of graphic lag. Again, maybe not a good amount of graphic lag, but a decent amount of graphic lag which you can easily notice. Whereas on this device, the overall UI performance, the kind of animations, the kind of transitions you actually see are very smooth, even when you run applications in the background, even when you run games in the background. So if there are some graphic stuff which are running on this device, this will actually give you a better, smoother UI. And this is again a pure stock Android UI which you will get, which is much smoother, much faster in UI transitions and animations. Now the third good point of Moto E is the Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection. I'm not sure whether we have actually any kind of protection on the Micromax Unite 2, but on Motorola Moto E we have got a Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection, which actually gives a better display glass on this device, which is scratch resistant, which is a kind of you can say drop proof as well. If you drop it from the waist height, nothing will happen. If you drop it from the shoulder height, it might break, but again it is stronger enough. And one thing which I like about the Moto E is that when it comes to the glass is not only strong, but it is also, you can say, fingerprint resistant as well. So the fingerprints are not very much visible on this display. Again, they will be visible, but they are much more noticeable on the display of the Unite 2. So this is something which is a positive point for Moto E as compared to Unite 2. So another good point which I would like to highlight for the Moto E is that you have this device which is having a slightly better build quality. I would not say that the Micromax Unite 2 is actually bad in terms of build quality. This is also good, but again, when you hold this device in hand and when you hold this device in hand, you can see that the back cover is actually almost of the same finish. You have a rubberized matte finish on this one, and you have a rubberized matte finish on this one as well. but again the kind of plastic which has been used on the back cover on this one is kind of thin, whereas this one is kind of thick plastic, and it definitely feels much more solid when you hold this device in one hand. And one thing which is good about this phone, apart from the build quality, which is another good point, so the build quality is slightly better on the Moto E as compared to Canvas Unite 2, but it is not very bad or not bad at all on the Unite 2 as well. But one more thing which I would like to highlight is that this device has better one-handed usage, so you can easily hold this device in one hand. It has a curved back cover which is actually suited for your palm, so you can easily hold this device in hand, and again it will give you a better grip when you hold it. You can use this device with one hand without any issues. Again, the display is 4.3 inch, it is not too big, not too small, so you can use it. On the other hand, if we talk about the Micromax Unite 2, this device is also pretty good to hold in one hand, although it may not be a very fine grip because it has a flat back basically, so it may not be a very good hold basically but still, because of the rubberized matte finish, you can actually hold this phone in hand as well, and it won't slip out of your hand. That is something I can tell you. But the display size is slightly bigger, it is 4.7 inch. Still, it can be used with one hand, but again not that easily as you can do with Moto E, on which you can actually reach every part of the screen with one hand quite easily because of 4.3 inch display, whereas this device is slightly bigger. But again, this will also give you a better you can say multimedia experience as well, especially because of the bigger display size, but the pixel density is lesser on this one. So again, I would say the display department and the form factor and the build quality is something which is better on Motorola Moto E. So now I would like to give you some of the points which I can tell you on the basis of which you can actually take the decision in between these two devices. These devices are very much closer to each other. Both of them are good enough in the kind of features they have. Both of them have their good points. So first of all, I'm going to highlight the points on the basis of which you can make a decision if you would like to buy the Micromax Unite 2. Micromax Unite 2 you can choose in case you don't want to miss out on the front camera, and in case you don't want to miss out on the camera performance of the rear, especially on the device of any of these two devices. The rear camera is definitely better on this one. It has autofocus, it can do high definition video recording, you do have LED flash, so you can use it as a torch as well. So in the camera department, if you want to decide a device in between these two, I would suggest you to go for the Unite 2. But in terms of the software department, if you want a smoother software UI, the UI transition should be smooth. The kind of experience you get on the Android phone out of these two should be kind of stock Android and pure Android experience you want to experience. Then in that case, I would suggest you to go for Moto E. One thing more, as far as if something which matters to you is the display quality and the pixel density, then in that case I will again refer you to Moto E, because Moto E has a higher pixel density. The display is better in terms of color reproduction. It may not be that much bright as this one is, but still it is better in terms of color reproduction, and the overall pixel density is much more higher on this device as compared to the Micromax Unite 2. But in case if display size matters to you most, then in that case you should go for the Unite 2, because Unite 2 will give you a bigger display size as compared to Moto E. So if bigger display size and better camera is something which you will need, then you should go for this one, or the Micromax Unite 2. If a smoother UI and a slightly better build quality and a good one-handed usage is something which you need, then you should go for the Moto E. So that's all from us as far as the quick comparison and the reasons which will again help you buy any of these two phones, which will again help you decide in between any of these two phones based on the requirements which we just highlighted. So if something is not covered in this video, you can leave that in the comment section below and I would love to help you. You can like this video if this video helped you by clicking the like button below. You can subscribe to our YouTube video channel for more videos like this by clicking the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching this video. This is Abhishek signing off. Thank you.